What the fuck? I put that helmet on and these electrodes went into my brain. I've got new memories, and I think I was injected with something? Shh. It's all right. Who was that? Hello, Angel. I am you. What? Yep. We might be really similar both in personality and appearance, but there's some notable differences in our upbringing. I'm from Vault 101. You're not? Nope, I'm from Vault 18. A different vault? What? How? That doesn't make any sense. We're born in the vault, we die in the vault. Or that's what they would say anyway. Don't worry, I'll explain everything to you. Get up, head into the other room. Okay. Okay, so there should be some information in this room to fill you in on what happened. If the memories bouncing around your head aren't enough for you, 101. What should I read first? 18? You could ingest them one at a time, but you've got me to sort it out for you.
Who tells your story? Alexander Hamilton here. I have completed most of the job asked of me. Please read the logs. Not Mulligan version 2.0 first, if you are stupefied. However, I wanted to go a step further and straighten out your lengthy tale with what I learned as asked of me. I've deciphered the drives. I believe I understand your wretched tale. I apologize, but that is what it is. I cannot lie about that. I've wiped the godforsaken data off this terminal by the one called Auntie, and have since replaced it with your narrative. I am not aware if the headgear will tell you everything, how far it will go to the present moment, or how much of the drives you already knew. Please, take a seat.
What? Oh right, we're going to need to start at the beginning with the logs. We have to talk briefly about the time before the Great War that defined the wasteland, back when it was known as America, and the vaults were being built.
2069, 07, 01. Wollstonecroft. Fix this now. What is this shit? Did you all think no one would notice you started digging in the wrong direction? You have a room and a half built under Vault-Tec guidelines going the wrong freaking way. Fortunately, the foreman had the sense to correct the mistake, and the construction of Vault 101 is underway, though you're behind on the timeline. It's bad, but it could be worse, like that vault with twins separated at birth. You don't want to be laid off like that lot was. Look, I've got a plane to catch. Hopefully the boys in West Virginia use a freaking compass. Here's what I want you to do. Some of the newer vaults around Boston have plans to each have an external building to function as a checkpoint and for processing. Finish this room, use it for processing. I'll send a rep to do the work. Foreman, make sure he gets this note so he doesn't ask why there's an idiotic second mini vault that would be completely pointless in the event the bombs drop. Assistant Chief Executive Officer Giles Wollstonecroft of the Vault-Tec Corporation.
This asshole was a Vault-Tec executive? Great. Project Safe House, which resulted in the Vault-Tec Corporation, was just one of the many programs created by the pre-war American government.
Chapter 1. Masters of War. By the year 2077, the American government had grown more despicable than King George. Sorry, I'll try to keep my opinions out of this. Do not lengthen an already lengthy tale. It starts with a sea slug with amazing regenerative capabilities, being found on the seafloor of the Marianas Trench. Would you kindly believe that Area 51 secured them? Several secret projects were underway, one of which was known as Project Brazil. The project was overseen by Senator Andrew Scholes-Oron, who hoped to leverage it to save his immunodeficient daughter, Aniaron. The team in Fort Dagger Point coordinated with Area 51 to obtain the slugs, with the goal of using them, along with a forced evolutionary virus, or FEV, to make immortality a reality. They combine FEV with the slug to make a regenerative but controlled parasite called a chrysalis.
What the fuck? Raj never taught any of this in history. And countries like America brought the world to its ruin.
2077, 10/23, Jaquise, today's the day. Oh, hell. They're actually doing it. They actually... The sirens started going off. Then the overseer arrived, and they processed everyone on the list that came. I can still hear everyone else rioting outside. They're about to close the vault door. I can't be on this side of it. I'm sorry. I'll leave this aux door unlocked for you all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Vault security recruit Jaquise Montplaisir of the Vault Tech Corporation.
That's so sad. I try not to think about how many people died that day. 101, trust me, you get numb to it after a while. I'm not proud of it.
When nuclear war occurred later that year, various government groups bunkered down. The scientists at Fort Daggerpoint were vengeful upon Skulls for rushing them all those years for his own gain. They did the rush operation on Anai with FEV to cure her ailment as he directed, but they also used her as a guinea pig to test the chrysalis. Many nukes later, Anai alone survived, changed, but outside Vault 18, which had been made for her father. The experiment worked imperfectly, and she occasionally turned into a supermutant and produced clones of herself in the process. Supermutants are the designation for the controlled results of FEV mutating a person. Though strains of these mutants could be found in other regions, none would perfect it. Like the Master.
Who was the Master? He came about a century later. Some others made logs on this other terminal in the meantime, like an early enclave.
2080-02-19, Santiago, more rubble. Yet another vault, filled with people too naive to even know to scream. At least they're spared this hellish wasteland. I've told my unit to leave the vaults be. I've been told the people inside could be very valuable someday. The soldiers think there's no point anymore, no purpose to it all, that we're an army without a command, like sand without a seed. But I was privy to a sort of exclusive club before the bombs. I know of others in our situation further inland. We'll find purpose there. To all you in this vault, wait. Be patient and survive. You're more valuable than you know. We hope that we can one day send a few units to this hole to shape it up someday. Colonel Ellen Santiago of an enclave of the United States.
She talks like the Overseer did. There were also some raiders. The ones on the East Coast are notoriously disorganized.
21-15-11-11, Sawtooth. No. No. This ain't happening. Not to me. Oh no. Face vault. House. Crew like mine getting more and more common these days. It's been 35 years since the last log. They're coming after me. Queen got my guys to turn on me. Says we ought to unite or some crap. Bitch wants us to be some generic raider. I'm a proud meat grinder, and I ain't working with any other raider gang. I'm bleeding out. I screamed for days in front of the door here. Surprisingly, it opened, but some mother shot me good. You all. With this, meat grinders are part of history. When you future get civilization working, make sure my statue has a huge Sawtooth of the meat grinders.
I can see that. Eventually, the Master shows up.
The Master was the result of some poor souls and computers falling into FEV vats. The being mutated into a genius who created the Unity, a philosophy that preached humanity could be improved to thrive in the post-apocalypse. He created the first generation of his version of the super mutants, which remain the most intelligent to this date. His plan was ultimately a failure, for the supermutants were sterile. A Vault Dweller from Vault 13 challenged him in the year 2162, and put an end to the Master and his plans forevermore.
Damn, 18. How did the super mutants respond? Most moved on, but some refused.
Chapter 2, Rebuilding Unity. However, one of the super mutants who witnessed the fall of the Master survived the encounter. His name was Mark, and he loathed the Vault Dweller for ending Unity. He scooped a sample from the ground where the confrontation happened, believing it to be the DNA of his sworn enemy, and he kept it with him at all times. It should be noted that supermutants were still produced after this by dipping people in FEV vats, but without the expertise of the Master, this second generation was much more prone to brain damage and hostility, much like other variants of supermutants created from FEV. Mark and another mutant, Brondon, many years down the line, discovered Fort Daggerpoint. They were inspired by the research there to restart the Unity by solving the fundamental problem of supermutants, their sterility. They attempted cloning experiments to replace vat dipping, but that was a massive failure. Their attempts continued to fail until one day, one of Anai's many clones approached them. She asked if they could kill her, but Mark just dipped her in the FEV vats. Much to his surprise, the chrysalis inside her reacted with the vats peculiarly. Mark used an anti-FEV serum developed in Daggerpoint to put an end to this Anai, though her chrysalis lived on in the vats. Mark then dipped himself, merging with the vats and the FEV. The chrysalis resulted in the growth of flesh carpets and organs growing out of the vats, through the facility, and transcending through Mark. He now called himself Father, and he psychically called an army of first-gen supermutants to his aid to rebuild the Unity. His primary goal was to make supermutants fertile, and he believed refining the chrysalis would be the answer to their dream. Brandon, who renamed himself to Vornot, served Father religiously and aided his experiments. Father told him of the Vault Dweller sample, insisting that they needed to have a human host the chrysalis before merging with them. Father assured this would make him immortal, and in turn, he would be able to endlessly produce bodies for super mutants.
Wow, this sounds like a science fiction comic, 18. Oh, you don't even know yet. We haven't even gotten into the breeding yet. Oh no.
Chapter 3, Reproduction. Father and Vornot identified 4 individuals contained within the sample. When Vornot questioned which was the Vault Dweller, Father assured him that he would recognize their identity in time. Vornot captured women from surrounding tribes in the past, most of which were descended from exodites from Vault 18. Using his sample and frozen slugs, Father recreated them and improved upon the parasitic symbiote within himself. He bred millions of them, knowing few would survive. He raped the woman and forced them to birth the few successful symbiotes. Father ordered the beings born that could conceivably be called infants to be left in the wild. He did this because he knew Vault 18 had Wasteland scouts that kept an eye on the exodite tribes. He wanted his clone of the Vault Dweller to be raised in a vault and have a similar upbringing. Vornot had doubts about the logic of this plan, and after analysis of the gene projections, he discovered that all 4 individuals in the sample Father had acquired were not the Vault Dweller at all. That Father was delusional. Dr. Allison V. was a former tribal who became an anthropologist for the New California Republic, who had acquired a separate sample from the Vault Dweller through tribal sources she never revealed. She coordinated with Vault 8 to use their organ cloning technology to clone the brain of the Vault Dweller for a cybernetic project on which she was consulting for her government. This project would result in the creation of an android based on the Vault Dweller, though he was very mortal and very sterile. Unfortunately, on one expedition to tribal lands in the past, V was captured by a group called Psychos, who used her body as a maggot farm. My god.
Okay then. This all sounds awful. What does this have to do with me? Us? This is where we come in, 101.
Chapter 4, Look in the Mirror. Vornot, when he was capturing women, rescued V from her captors. After telling her of the vats, she willingly dipped herself and became a supermutant to free herself from torment. She became known as Vivi and could somewhat remember her former life. Vornot suggested she dip in the vats once more to merge with the Father, but not long after, Vornot voiced his concern about whether the children they made were truly immortal. Father humored Vornot and designated a mission to another loyal follower known as Onti to find a better strain of FEV that could allow the chrysalis to truly be immortal. One promising specimen divided into twin zygotes. She left with one to travel to the other side of the continent to find the FEV in Vault 87, while Father proceeded with the other. These were both you. Vornot challenged Father on whether the children were related to the Vault Dweller in any way, but Father tolerated his insubordination no longer and had him killed. You may be wondering, are you truly a descendant of the Vault Dweller, or a mutant clone? The way I see it, there is a 50% chance that you are. Father's sample was false. V's was true. If Father was open-minded when he merged with VV and changed his methodology to use her proper sample, then yes, you are the Vault Dweller. However, if Father's delusion to recreate his age-old enemy just to confront them or persuade them thus prevented him from rationally realizing his sample was faulty, he may have stubbornly kept using his false sample, which would mean you are a clone of some random wastelander.
What? No way. James is my dad. My mom died in childbirth. I'm sorry, 101, but it's a hell of a lot more complicated than that. Go look at the family tree diagram that Hamilton was kind enough to make. So, we were cloned? We might be clones of this really important person in history who killed the arbiter of humanity's, second destruction? Maybe. Right, 'cause it could have just been some nobody. Just because they didn't leave a mark upon history, that doesn't mean they're nobody. They still mattered. Yeah, you're right. Wait, doesn't this mean we're also twins? Yep. Heya, it's your clone sister. What the fuck? I'm the elder, though.
You were originally born in 2240 in Dagger Point, and 2 years later, you would be found by Wasteland scouts, where you had been left by mutants in the ruins of a village. Like the father had predicted, you and the other infants were taken to live in Vault 18. You and 3 other infants, Mandy, Sean, and Jason, took the surname Star based on the marks you were given by the tribals. And the scout who found you, Kevin Rossman, became the closest you had to a father figure, though Jason was adopted by the overseer of Vault 18.
Wow, your upbringing was different. Yeah, I went from a mutant infant to being adopted into the Orion tribe. But then my family was slaughtered by an eye. Wait, what? She wasn't herself. But then I was adopted into Vault 18. It's on the diagram. Ah, I see. This has our adopted families, as well as some of the other mutants like us. Yeah, but they weren't lucky enough to get our parasite. It only matured in us. Also, while I was a newborn, Vault 101 finally opened to the world.
2241-02-10. Taylor. Isn't this neat? We just got back from Megaton. I thought I'd check in this little room before we returned to the vault. How did we not notice it on our way out? Guess I'll just write this down before giving the official report to the overseer. Just think of how quaint it'll be for the next recon squad to see this little note. Strange, though, these last entries are from quite a while ago. Did the door open sometime before? I thought we were the first. The overseer wouldn't lie, would he? It must have just been this old man, yeah. Scout Agnes Taylor of Vault 101.
But they said the vault never opened. Wait a minute.
View scouting reports. Report 2241-02-10. As our test suggested, the immediate vicinity of the vault is no longer dangerously irradiated.
So the overseer lied. Of course he fucking did. The vaults were never meant to save anyone. They were cruel experiments. Vault 18's experiment was to watch the others from afar, with the nuke to end our suffering. You're shitting me. You can't be serious. Wait, then what was Vault 101's experiment?
Vault 101, Washington, D.C. Evaluation of an omnipotent, dictatorial overseer in a closed community. This vault is intended never to open. Vault 101 status. Experiment continues as expected.
To be an isolated dictatorship. Naturally, that turned into fascism. What are the odds? Anyway, the Enclave had a resurgence.
Chapter 5. How American. Meanwhile, Anai was still alive, living long enough to discover that she could kill herself only through molecular incineration. She began hunting down her clones. One clone eluded her, who renamed herself Chevy Bragg, and became a high-ranking member in the Navarro Enclave, a remnant of the United States government that attempted to reassert their control on the wasteland. In time, Chevy produced another clone who renamed himself John Bragg. Chevy convinced herself that she was the original Anai, but John fully believed the Enclave's propaganda. John found himself promoted to be Chevy's commander. Why? Either because the Enclave has a horrid track record when it comes to high-ranking women, or John was just that brainwashed. The Enclave's horrific experiments and plans were put to an end when the grandchild of the Vault Dweller, who was known as the Chosen One by their tribe, took down their leaders, Frank Horrigan and President Dick Richardson Jr., in addition to destroying their operation. Chevy and John survived and continued to serve what remained of the broken Enclave under Colonel Augustus Autumn Sr., though Anai still tracked them in the hopes of finally killing herself. Chevy and John began a systematic campaign of rebuilding the Enclave's forces by infiltrating vaults and recruiting naive populations.
Oh no. Oh yeah, fuck America. Anyway, here's where you come in.
2249-1203 Auntie, my mission. You would think that I'd be more annoyed that it took me over half a decade to cross the continent, but no. My frustration exceeds far beyond that by the fact that it took me a week to figure out how to use this tiny keyboard without jamming. Only Father knows how Vornot manages. Anyway, my mission. I figured it'd be best to keep records of my work to help keep my superior mutant brain focused on task. I suppose I'll record my mission first. I had to commit it to memory for so many years. All that time, no one to talk to. The only prime normals I saw wanted me dead. Typical. Father is adamant that the Unity's success is dependent on the Vault Dweller rising again. He had already seeded the past with many of them by the time I was given my mission. Vornot was adamant that the gene projections indicated the only immortal specimens were in fact only temporarily immortal, and that in time their immortality would fail unless a better strain of FEV was intertwined with the chrysalis. Father acquiesced and sent me to acquire a particularly volatile strain of FEV that should make immortality truly endless, but I don't suspect Vornot is still around if he continued to question the Father so. One zygote produced by the Father underwent fission, producing the first and only set of twins. He felt this sample was promising, and to date, it is the only to survive the journey in its experimental Vault-Tec cryogenic case. Father told me of the location of this unique strain of FEV, within Vault 87. I am to use it to bring life to our old enemy once again, but I am a mere backup. Father continues with the corresponding twin and countless other attempts. I will do my part in the Unity. Auntie of the Super Mutant Army.
So, I'm the backup in case you became mortal? Yes, we were just playthings to the Unity.
2250-0101 Auntie, the Vaults. It's already been a month. The status of the Vault situation is ongoing. I had, of course, made contact with Vault 87 immediately. They are incredibly dumb, to put it mildly. Their leader was just known as Snarl. Guess why, Auntie? It's because he snarls. They welcomed me as a fellow super mutant, though they were a little suspicious, having never seen one from the West. I requested they deliver some samples of FEV for my mission. When they eventually understood I was talking about the green stuff, they became obstinate, constantly complaining that they were already running out and wanted to find more. Imbeciles. I had to set up in this dumb room outside a different vault because they were too suspicious of me to learn the concept of hospitality. I had to clean out all of the bodies and install some equipment, but this setup will function adequately. But that brings me to this entry I'm typing now. They've delivered a sample of FEV. Great. I'll see if I can get more. Auntie of the Super Mutant Army.
She sure seems full of herself. Oh yeah.
2254-05-26. Auntie, a breakthrough. Eureka! A breakthrough! Finally! I've made hundreds of defected clones from the now embryo that father gave me. After all, the embryo itself was too precious to test. But I finally isolated the specific gene sequence responsible for the clone's early demise, as well as the proper catalyst that enables the FEV to bond without any mutations outside of the expected range. These developments could lead to a modification of the chrysalis to prevent its regenerative abilities from decaying. I'll have to elevate the test to the next phase before I risk removing the embryo from the cryo device. I'm starving. I'll mull over exactly what methodology to employ while I go hunt for my next meal. Auntie of the Super Mutant Army.
Wait, do super mutants eat people? Ew. Not all of them. Oh, by the way, in 2255, those defects built up enough in me that my body failed me.
We didn't know why the Star Child's body failed them, but we managed to save them with a full body transplant, thanks to Kyoto, Bishop, and I.
Wait, your vault had a smoking Ares body too? Indeed, it seems we had similar taste. Well, I knew I didn't want to remain a little boy forever. Damn right. Back to Auntie.
2257-08-05. Auntie finding a host. Father, if you could see me now. The tests were long and tedious. I tried using humans, but they died so easily. I was able to clone organs and work my way forward. The really worrying segment was making the modification of the embryo itself. But by you, it worked. All of my tests confirm it, and all of the clones I make from it have promising gene projections. I recycled the clones, of course. None of them could compare to Father's vision, but now his work is complete. That was a week ago. I've hardly had the chance to record a log the past week because I realized that I needed a host. Of all the humans I tested or eaten, those that had a uterus were hardly in a healthy enough condition to be the host for Father's second attempt. There's a city off the coast, though, where the residents are somewhat less contaminated. If I use one of my old stealth boys, I may be able to snatch the best of the lot. Auntie of the Super Mutant Army. 2257-10-11. Catherine, what is this? What is this place? Where's the Super Mutant? Oh, this is their terminal. I see the logs. Is this what you did to me? Oh my god. I'm gonna be sick. I don't remember exactly. Wait. Oh god. You. Catherine of the Project Purity team.
So that's how... Ugh, fuck you, Auntie. You'll like this part 101.
2257-10-12. Auntie. Incubation. I've done as the father told me. All that is left is to ensure the eventual child grows up within a vault. I caught the host on the terminal. She believes she escaped, but I let her go. She's a prime normal. She'll probably realize a vault is the only way to keep her young safe. 2257-10-12. Catherine. Back. Like I said, you. God, what am I going to tell James? I'll need to show him this place. Let's hire bodyguards, or may God send more ammo my way. Catherine, of the Project Purity team.
Hell yeah, Mom! Hamilton recap this.
Chapter 6, Vaults 18 and 101. While you were being raised in Vault 18, Auntie carried what would be your twin to the capital wasteland. She halted its growth with some experimental cryogenic technology until she got what she needed from Vault 87. However, the less intelligent supermutants were less than hospitable to her, so she instead set up shop in this very room outside Vault 101. In 2257, she managed to bind the V87 FEV to the embryo to make it truly immortal, like the father had desired for so long. However, she needed a woman to carry it and give birth to it. That's when she captured Catherine from Rivet City, believing her to be healthy stock. After the procedure was done, and after Catherine was impregnated against her will, Auntie was going to arrange for her to stay in Vault 101. After all, Father insisted that the Vault Dweller grow up in a vault. However, she underestimated Catherine, who returned and killed Auntie.
You go, Mom. And your adopted father told you what happened to her, right?
You're just
James?
Catherine?
James?
Catherine! She's in cardiac arrest. Start compression. Get the baby out of here. Move! Move! 1,000. 1,000. Come on. Hang on, Catherine. Hang on.
2258 07 22. James. For her sake. Catherine's dead. We were so happy. And I can see the note she wrote. She was so capable, so amazing. She did eventually figure out how to tell me by telling me she wanted to abort the experiment the mutant put her through. I understood. She was fortunate, really. Between her, Lee, the others, and I, she could get an actual operation, instead of ingesting radiation or whatever horrible remedies Wastelanders have to use. But that's when Lee discovered her heart condition and told us of the risks. Catherine had a change of heart, bless her. Regardless of how it happened, she made the decision to keep it. It was the bravest thing I think I've ever seen. And it was the death of her. She didn't survive the birth. But in her place, this child in my lap. I never thought I'd see something so pure in this life. We made so much progress on Project Purity, too. But compared to you, it's nothing. I'm going to honor her wish for you to live a good life. The best I can see for you is in a vault. I'll let the world drown just to fulfill her last wish. You are everything. Despite these creepy logs, I still hope you become the next hero of the Wastes. Cross managed to get the Vault 101 Overseer's attention somehow. He has agreed to let us in exchange for my experience as a doctor. Apparently they're having staffing issues. I just reread that entry from that executive of Vault Tech. That made me think of how you apparently have a twin out there somewhere, maybe? I guess we'll never know, my child. It's not something you need to worry about. Not yet, at least. Let's go. As a family. James, of the Project Purity team.
Wow, they really cared about me. Apparently, Hamilton recapped this too.
After some consideration, Catherine decided to keep you, despite her heart condition. In 2258, the other you, the one reading this, was born. Though Catherine did not survive, her husband, your adoptive father, continued as expected though. He took you to Vault 101, abandoning his Project Purity, hoping to give you a safe life. They actually let him inside because they needed doctors, and so there you lived. Two identical twins, each a copy of someone from long ago, each on the other side of the continent. One was raised in Vault 18, one was raised in Vault 101.
I would have never guessed this in a million years. Hamilton was right. My life is a lie. Well, the life you live still happened. What's your earliest memory? That's still real. I'm surprised I actually remember it, but I was just a baby at the time.
There you go. My goodness, just a year old and already walking like a pro. Your mother would have been so proud.
Hold on to that innocence. Maturity is great, but innocence isn't a bad thing.